This flashing signal tells me that we are entering into phase 2 of this bull market, and what that means for Ethereum and the large caps is going to be absolutely insane in the early part of 2024. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what that flashing signal is, as well as talk about which altcoins I think are going to see the most early growth next year. As well as that, if you've got the patience to stick around to the end of this video, I'm going to talk about a really exciting new project which you need to know about. Hit that like button and let's get into today's video. Now guys, as we look into Bitcoin, and yes guys, my voice is yet to recover, so just bear with me on that. I apologize, but maybe it's a little refreshing and it sounds like you're listening to someone else rather than my usual nasal voice. Now what we can see, Bitcoin this year has been pumping, as you well know, literally 166%, which is a lot, given that Bitcoin has the biggest market cap, and we know it takes more money to move that market cap, okay? And typically people think that, yeah, when we're in a bull market, the smaller market cap coins pump harder than Bitcoin. That's true, very true, but they don't do that until Bitcoin has had a good sizable pump first. And actually there's something else that needs to happen before that. Now, of course, if you're subscribed, you've seen this before, which is the path to altcoin season. Phase 1, Bitcoin goes crazy, which we've been seeing all year, and particularly crazy this autumn in the last month or so, rallying to around $45,000, whilst the likes of Ben Cowan and Gareth Soloway are still waiting for that bear market to happen. We've all been making massive gains in the large cap altcoins and everything you can think of. But most importantly, we're yet to get to phase 2, the Ethereum cycle. Now, what we need to understand is this. When we see a crypto bull market coming around, at the bottom, you get kind of like the smarter investor, or what is considered to be the smart investor. I'm just going to call them the chancers, of which I'm one of them, okay? And if you've been buying this year, you're a chancer, but good on you because you've nailed it, okay? But the bigger money doesn't really tend to enter that hard into the space until these kind of areas here. Now, if we look back to Bitcoin in the last bull market, this is a logarithmic scale, by the way, which means it's just like percentage moves rather than dollar value, which gives us much clearer information. Okay, so what we can see after this yellow breakout, or this yellow circle, we had this very big breakout. Now here, smart money enters, and then we get kind of accumulation by kind of larger money, and then you get kind of like more institutions money in, and then the kind of dumb money enters around here, okay? And then everyone gets their exit liquidity, everyone dumps off, and then yeah, you get the picture. So we had like kind of smart money accumulation through here, kind of larger whale and institutional kind of money investment. Then you're going to get more institutions to drive this forward. Eventually you'll get the kind of FOMO as it goes on, like CNBC and whatever else, and that drives up the exit liquidity at the end of it all. But I want you to understand this, because we yet to see this, which is going to be a huge amount of money entering into the space, there is still not that much money in crypto compared to what there will be over the next kind of 18 months or so. And whilst you're getting some small caps going absolutely crazy, really they don't really have very big market caps, so there's not much money that's pushing them up. Therefore, the kind of large cap altcoins still don't really have the capital to be able to drive those crazy gains in them. But because of this, we're seeing something very important. Now, this is Ethereum. Back in the last bear market, you had this. Not the last bear market, but the bear market before that. We had this kind of downward bear market broadening wedge on the Ethereum price. We go into an ascending triangle with a little COVID fake out, and then we have this kind of break, retest, and push. Now that signified phase 2 of the bull market, okay? Because this didn't really happen until Bitcoin had already pumped significantly. Right now, look at where we are. We had that kind of breakdown below into this ascending triangle. We've broken. I think we seem to have had some sort of form of retest, whether you go a bit higher and have another retest, who knows? And then I think we're going to be into one of these. And that will then be followed by the large caps. Now, let me show you the progress to get towards this point. Now, as you can see on the bottom, we've got Bitcoin, and on the top, we've got Ethereum. Now, I'm going to talk about this date, the 2nd of November. This is on a weekly chart. The reason I've done this is because from this point, we've seen Bitcoin already rallying significantly up for about kind of 80-90%. In the same period of time, we've kind of seen Ethereum not doing a huge amount, doing like 25%, which has happened over the last week or so. Following this point on, Bitcoin continued to kind of grow while Ethereum grew significantly around a kind of a 9x. Now, will Ethereum do a 9x in that period again? Potentially, but I don't think it will. Massive market cap already, okay? Already, I think it's going to be pushing, but maybe we could anticipate a $7,000 to $9,000 price point. But what's important is where we are in this kind of timeline towards kind of bull market tops. So if we use Ethereum as our guide on this, bearing in mind we're quite clearly around the 2nd of November, as in what we were at in this blue line point here, we're now kind of entering into that area again. I want to look at where Ethereum was compared with altcoins that were kind of the large caps back then. And here on the bottom, you've got Cardano, okay? And this is the 2nd of November for Cardano. From that point, we saw a very aggressive rally where we saw sort of 20 to 23x in just the space of a few weeks, okay? So what really happens after Ethereum kind of gets going is you don't have much time, but you do have a little bit of a pause point. Ethereum's going to pump. It's going to bring a load of money into the market because it's big market caps, okay? So Bitcoin and Ethereum pumping together, huge amounts of money flood into the market. Those two start to pause. Their money is then big enough to pump large cap altcoins. Now, we are seeing some movement in the large cap altcoins more recently, such as Solana. But I want to draw your attention to this. There are some anomalies in the space. This was Filecoin back on the 2nd of November in the last bull market, okay? Filecoin by that point had already rallied like 10x, 11x, okay? And from there, it didn't really kind of gain much more. In fact, it started to pull back. And then from there had like another kind of 5, 6x. So actually a lot of coins that have been performing really strongly more recently may well not be the ones that we're going to see huge gains from in the future. And there's large caps which have had great years, talking the likes of Solana, AVAX, etc. So maybe we will see some more gains in them, but maybe there's going to be other large caps that aren't seeing the growth yet that we should be paying attention to. But why should we focus on large caps? Well, because of this. Remember, after the Ethereum and large cap session, we get into the altcoin season. So while in likes of Ethereum and stuff, you might be able to see like a 9x, maybe a 7x from these kind of areas, and same with some of the other large caps. After that, we lead into kind of the next phase of the bull market where all the ICOs and the new incredible projects arrive. Because Solana really hadn't got going, it got onto Coinbase on the 14th of July, which was literally about 8 months after the Ethereum bull market started. Okay, so don't get too hung up on trying to find the small caps and the ICOs and all that stuff right now. Because guys, a lot of those kind of newer projects will see massive gains, but you don't need to get into them too early. From that point, Solana then did like a 10x. So if you're able to get yourself like a 5 or so x in the first phase of this bull market, then you can take that money and then find some new ICOs, etc., where you can get your next 10, 20, 30x in the latter part. You don't need to make those like 50, 100x's right now. Your aim is large caps. And which large caps am I focusing on? Well, guys, again, you know, we have seen some good growth already this year from the likes of Chainlink. I do still think that Chainlink has the potential to be a top 4, maybe a top 5 crypto. And I do think it's going to continue to see sustained growth into the future. That's obviously not financial advice. Go and do your own research. This is just entertainment purposes only, shall we say. We've still seen H-bar be fairly uninspiring, but I do think, again, once it kind of breaks beyond these highs, we could see H-bar pushing up to around 14 cents. Maybe even higher in the short near terms. Veracity, a coin with huge potential that hasn't really been seeing huge amount of growth already this year, but when it does pump, we do know it pumps very fast, so another coin definitely worth paying attention to. Now, interestingly, I've been very bullish, and I still am very much bullish on Solana, but Solana currently sat at $94. I think a run up to around 136 is potentially on the cards. Maybe then we'll get a pull back to around $100 before a push higher somewhere towards $800 to $900 in my opinion. But if we were looking for shorter term gains over the next kind of few months, I would anticipate it not being in some of these altcoins that have seen great growth recently. The large caps, okay, such as Solana, Caspers, etc. Ultimately, because people will always take profits out of coins that have been pumping and put them into coins that have yet to pump, okay? So look for coins that are yet to pump in that kind of top 50, top 100. And it's pretty straightforward from there. You can't really go far wrong, guys, in my opinion. And if you're subscribed, you will have realized I've been talking about that all along. But I did just mention something very important, if you caught along, which was ICOs, upcoming ICOs during the next bull market. And also, something else to focus on right now is coins that will be making money as that bull market progresses. Now, previously, I've talked to you about the power of launch pads. Decubate is a smaller launchpad platform. Why might launch pads be interesting? Well, because of this, Decubate is a launchpad that's helped to launch a bunch of different projects over the last couple of years. And you can come down below and looking at their portfolio, you can see the most of these up to all-time high have seen at least a 5, maybe even up to a 42x in some cases. And some of these projects you've probably heard of, such as DexCheck, ChainGPT, LitLabs, etc. Now, what's important about this is that this company has worked with all these projects and has a stake in these projects. So when these projects continue to do well through the bull market, this platform also does extremely well. We've seen gains happening in some of the larger launchpads such as Seedify and DAOmaker recently, and I think we're going to see huge kind of pushes in some of these kind of smaller, newer launchpads going forward. Now, something else that's important to know, you can also participate in these ICOs and without having to put any money in at all, which is important because remember, lots of these projects are doing 6x's, maybe even up to a 42x, so it's always worth participating in pre-sales if you can. Now, looking into the tier system, basically you don't even need to hold tokens in order to participate in the first one. You just need to complete a KYC or know your customer. That means that you then get an opportunity to invest a few tokens. If you then hold some of their token and stake it, you'll then get access to more in terms of pre-sale quantity. Now, another reason I love this particular model is this. Because you need to buy and stake tokens in order to participate in these launchpads, which have very successful historical launches, well, that's an incentive to hold on to those tokens and stake them. And if everyone wants to hold on and stake those tokens, it's very good for the overall token price of this particular project, Decubate. Now, looking into the Decubate chart over on CryptoRank, we can see that over the past year or so, we've been sort of fairly quiet. And then now we're starting to see some kind of growth. And the reason we see very quick growth from these launchpads is that a lot of the tokens they're invested in have done really well, okay? So when those projects are doing well, we see Decubate also wanting to do well. Right as we speak, we're in sort of a symmetrical triangle pattern, and I would anticipate continuation from here. We still currently have a market cap at $22.4 million, which is still tiny when it comes to launchpads and things like that. And I think we could well see them do extremely well in the future. They are also available on MEXC, guys. So if you want to check them out, make sure you use my MEXC link down below. 0% spot maker taker fees, up to 4,000 different altcoins in there. Absolute no-brainer that this should be the platform that you are using to exchange crypto, guys. Super cheap. And you can get up to $20,000 bonus if you use my link down below in the description. Now, as we can see, guys, you can go across to this website, link down below, and check out the launchpad, okay? Because there's a lot of new projects coming up all the time, and you can work out whether or not you want to stake tokens, how many tokens you need to stake in order to get decent amounts. Guys, as I've talked about on this channel, pre-sales are really, really potentially valuable because you're getting in even below the ICO price, okay? Which means it's much cheaper and you can gain some really great prices, really discounted prices on some top projects. So like LitLab launched on the 15th of May, you'd already be up like 5-6x if you'd bought in on that. ChainGPT, you'd be up like 40x already on that, guys. So you can see, so it's an absolute no-brainer that you should be getting involved in pre-sales. Now, guys, obviously I'm making YouTube videos all the time, but as well, I'm covering a lot of different projects more in-depth over on Twitter. So make sure you go and give me a follow over on Twitter. We give you the latest news and some really detailed threads on what is happening in all of your favorite coins from the Cosmos ecosystem, XRP, Avalanche, Solana, Casper, you name it, guys. Absolutely free to give me a follow over on Twitter. Go and check out Decubate as well. An exciting new year ahead of us, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.